The career arc for Minnesota Fighting Vikings center Garrett Bradbury, a.k.a. the Grim Reacher, has been extremely interesting, where he came in as a number 18 overall pick in the 2019 draft, absolute physical freak, but undersized, but synced up with what the Vikings wanted to do with the offensive line, outside zone, a lot of athletic, smaller offensive linemen, and Bradbury was going to be that dude. But the first 3 years of his career, not so much. And he was regarded as one of the worst centers in the league. But last year, he got things together, became a top 10 adjacent type center, and got paid. And re-signed here with the Vikings on a 3-year, $15.75 million deal. And he's going to be the guy in the pivot for the next couple of seasons. And he spoke with the local media jackals on Monday, the start of voluntary off-season workout. And he had some interesting things to say about why he re-signed here, why the Vikings wanted him to re-sign here, continuity, as well as Kirk Cousins, JEROME, Ezekiel Cousins. This is what he said. Kramer Strib. Garrett Bradbury, my wife and I sat down at the beginning of this, and we're basically like, we want to be somewhere where we want to live, somewhere with good coaches, system, locker room, and Minnesota had it all. We love it here. The past 4 years, it kind of turned into home. Now, there have been some speculation that he could leave in free agency, maybe going back to Carolina, where he grew up and played his college ball. He was a big-time recruit coming out of Charlotte, but, of course, the Panthers re-signed their center, Bradley Bozeman, so that door was closed. And Bradbury, Bradbury and his wife have been here for 4 years, and they've gotten things done. And even though it always hasn't been sunshine and rainbows, Minnesota having some continuity, having some consistency is very rare in this profession. And Bradbury did sign that 3-year, $15.75 million deal by average at 5.25. He's tied for the 15th highest paid center in the league. By the way, former Vikings legend Mason Cole signed that same deal with the Steelers. And overall, I'm fine with this. I think if Bradbury can improve on his 2022 season, where he made a quantum leap with new offensive line coach Chris Cooper, as well as Kevin O'Connell and Wes Phillips, I'm fine at this price. If Bradbury would have found a way to get $8, $9, $10 million a year in free agency, would have a bit ado. Best of luck to you, but fully understand why the Vikings brought him back at this price. And Bradbury, who had that back injury last year that cost him a chunk of the season. Seifert, who is not Carl Gerbschmidt, go. Bradbury, who re-signed as an unrestricted free agent, said he is fully recovered from the back injury that cost him 5 games last season. He'll be a full participant from the start of the offseason program. Where it's almost like the universe just slapping Vikings fans around, where Bradbury, horrible first 3 seasons, plays pretty good in year 4, and then after he goes down with that back injury and then re-aggravates it in that minor car crash, all of a sudden you see, maybe it's not so bad. Coach Schlutman was fine, but he wasn't as good as Bradbury. Chris Reed was horrible against the Packers, well, in terms of snapping and logistics and stuff like that, but it made you pine for Garrett Bradbury, which, again, universe you win. But maybe he was rushed back from that back injury. Maybe he wasn't 100% for the Giants game, and you saw how that quick interior pressure got to Kirk Cousins. And also, the 4th and 8 play, it was that quick interior pressure yet again that forced him into a quick throw short of the sticks, and we all know what happened there. But the Vikings, even though Dalvin had a career low yards per carry, as well as Kirk Cousins had a career high in sacks and pressures, they basically ran it back extra. Bradbury notes that 11 out of 12 offensive linemen are back from last year's group, losing only Kyle Hinton. They actually lost Bobby Evans, too, off of practice squad, but he was here for like 2 seconds. Good continuity as they enter year 2 of the Kevin O'Connell offense. And we did a video last week stating that the Vikings did have that continuity up front. Now, we didn't say it was good. We didn't say it was bad. We just thought it was interesting because they brought back Bradbury on a 3-year deal. They brought back Brandel as a ERFA. They re-signed Oli Udoh and Schlutman, and they redid Chris Reed's deal to keep him. So obviously, they feel very comfortable. And continuity is so important up front. And maybe it will take a while for Ed Ingram to gel. Maybe him playing every single snap last year at right guard, getting him used to that side of the ball because he played primarily left guard at LSU, as well as him progressing throughout his rookie year. Maybe he can hit the ground running in year 2. And Ezra, we've said that Ezra is more of a left tackle, just jammed inside the guard. Maybe with the new scheme in year 2, continuity, maybe you'll actually get things together. Plus, let's not forget the Vikings offensive line was ravaged by injuries last year. Bradbury missed time, Darisaw missed time with concussions, and Brian O'Neill, of course, missed the end of the season with that Achilles. Was a big reason why the Giants were able to feast on this offensive line in the playoff game. So obviously they like with what they have and where the Vikings are drafting and what they're likely to do with their first pick. I mean, they're probably not going to be selecting a guy who has a chance to start right away. They could take a mid-round guy like Zavala or Mafi or someone of that ilk, or Uluwatimi or whoever coming in, Stromberg on the interior offensive line. That could be a guy that starts in a couple of years, but I don't see an immediate starter coming in. So Darisaw, Ezra, Bradbury, Ed Ingram, and Brian O'Neill, knocking on all the wood, is probably going to be your starting offensive line headed into week 1 of the 2023 season. Then Bradbury was asked about Kirk Cousins, JEROME, Ezekiel Cousins, and he brought the praise, man. This is what he said from Alec Lewis, the Athletic. Quote, Kirk Cousins, makes the whole thing go round. Coach Cooper talks all the time. Like, a lot of us offensive linemen were drafted here, and we have been here our whole career. He's like, you don't know what it's like not having a quarterback. He's been through it. He's been through 5 quarterbacks in 5 years and that kind of thing. Yeah. And Chris Cooper was with the Broncos from 2006 to 2013. So his quarterbacks in Denver were Jake Plummer, Jay Cutler, Kyle Orton. He was there for Tebow time. Let's go, man. And then, of course, he had a year of Peyton Manning thing, but sure, whatever. But yes, that whole Gong show, it can be tough. It certainly can be. Blah, 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 blah. He's like, you know how good you have it, how talented he is, and how dialed he is, and how smart he is, getting us all together, knowing the play call, knowing what everyone is doing. You kind of take it for granted because it's what you're used to. But then in the offseason, you're training with guys, and you hear about how other quarterbacks go about their business, and you're like, that's not how Kirk Cousins is. He's the first person in, the last person out. He's got so much on his plate, and he handles it with such class and such professionalism. I love playing with him. He's the best. I can't say enough good things about that guy. We're lucky to have him. Now, he doesn't specifically mention Cousins at all in his quote, so who knows who he's talking about. I mean, he could be talking about Chris Boyd. Probably not. But, yeah, Kirk Cousins, first couple years after he came in 2018, 2019, he was the interloper because he walked into a veteran locker room. But the last couple years, this has been Kirk Cousins' team, for better or for worse. And, I mean, it's got to be an awkward situation in this locker room where he has so much support. And Kevin O'Connell and Kwesi made it pretty clear that this is it. That's it in terms of the last dance in 2023. But we'll see what happens in that regard. But your thoughts are thoughts. Garrett Bradbury talks to local media jackals about his injury, about him resigning, about Kirk Cousins, JEROME, and Ezekiel Cousins. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts and his thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skull Production Value.